G'day grade 8s, welcome to another lesson. We're progressing well, we're on lesson 4 and we're focusing on page 98 to 102, and our topic that we'll be discussing is the market, specifically referring to the economy. So we will be focusing on the following part of the term plan. After the end of this lesson, this is what you should be able to do. You should be able to define the key terms on page 98, define the concept market, also on page 98. You have to read through the bullet points on page 98 and complete activity 1 on page 99. I'll explain that when I get there, and explain in at least 5 sentences what the difference between an organized and a less organized market is. That you'll find also on page 99. If you want to work ahead, you're more than welcome to complete your summaries and to work ahead or do more activities. It's only for your own benefit, and we will start asking to see some proof of the work that you've been doing. Okay, so in this topic we're going to specifically look at how a market functions. How does it work? Okay, so there's two different types of markets that we normally look at, or that we look at. The first one is a goods market or a product market, and the second one is a service. Now, products are easy. It's something tangible. You can feel it, you can touch it. You go and buy a Coke from the shop. That is a product. So that's something that you bought, you use it, you can recycle it or throw it away. That is a product. A service, on the other hand, is, can you touch it? No. Can you smell it? Hopefully not. So it's a specific action, and it's, for example, would be a haircut, a medical checkup, a mail delivery, a car repair, teaching, because you don't get something that you can touch, but it's something that you can use or that's useful to you. So this is the thing, the two that we're going to focus on today. So the first one is goods and services market, and then the second one is the factor market. Okay, now we're gonna look at the two different ones, but we'll see how it links. Okay, so let's continue. So the key words, you need to be able to describe and understand the following concepts. So the term market, what do you think the market refers to? Quickly pause and quickly write down your own definition of what you think the term market refers to. Okay, so a market refers, we call it the place. This is where buying and selling happens. Okay, so it's we say it's a place, but it's actually just how it's facilitated. Now it can be at a different place. It can be the buyers and sellers don't even have to be at the same place these days. You can buy things online from the comfort of your own home behind your computer, and a business can sell it all the way from China, and you can still have a market. That's the place or where the transaction takes place. Fresh products, that you all know, that is something that you buy. It's fresh milk, fresh fruit or vegetables, fresh fish. It's something that is just been extracted from the it's a form of, for example, natural resource. Competitive market, now that means there's more than one competitor. Okay, in this market, let's say you're selling cupcakes. That means there's another cupcake seller or someone that sells something similar. Demand, that is when a consumer wants something. They're demanding it. They've got a need or a want, so there's a demand. They would like a product that's in demand now in COVID-19 is toilet paper for some or other reason. So everyone is just buying toilet paper. Okay, supply on the other hand is from the business side. What can they supply? Is it their product? So a lot of manufacturers have started supplying, or businesses have started supplying toilet paper that didn't even previously sell toilet paper. So it's all about, now this is where you get the market. It will be where a client has got a demand for a product and a business offers or they supply a product, and that's the place where the transaction takes place. But first they need to agree on a price. Okay, and we'll get there. This is where price comes in. Price is determined by the demand and supply. Then we'll look at the term market day. That's you've all have experienced the market day. Abstract, and I'll leave the rest for you to find out. Okay, let's continue. So, market, the goods and the services market. So I explained it in the previous slide. Market refers to the place where there's a sale and purchase of goods. A market can be an abstract term. Now, an abstract means it doesn't have to be at one place. Okay, so it's not a certain space or a place. It's not limited. As we said in the example, the buying and selling can be over a long distance. You don't have to go to Checkers in order to buy a product there. You can buy it online. Okay, so for example, you will look at products purchased by phone or online platform. So how can we define a market? We can say a market consists of a group of buyers and sellers that they want or that they offer a specific product or service. So let's quickly look at the different types of markets that's available. There's 7 stories, and in this story you need to understand. I want you to read through these bullets. I'll do the first one with you, and then on the next slide I'll show you how to do the rest. So the first story, Katlego lives near a harbor. His grandmother asks him to go to the harbor and buy fresh fish for supper from the fisherman. She gives him 20 rand. Later that day, he returns with fresh hake and 6 rand change. So that means he bought the hake for 14 rand from one of the fishermen. Okay, so there's 6 more stories. So I want you to complete activity 1. These 6 other stories, I want you to redraw this table that you see right here with a story. You can say story 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And then you have to identify who is the buyer and the seller. So in this case, who's the buyer? It is Katlego. He goes because he's got 20 rand, which he got from his grandmother. The seller is the fisherman. They sold the hake for 14 rand. Okay, so I want you to complete the 6 bullets in this format. Okay, then we look at another aspect of markets. Not all the markets are the same. They've got many forms. Some are very organized, and that you'll get, for example, if you look at Checkers or Food Lover markets. There's a fresh produce mood, and there's different agricultural goods. Okay, so they've got a whole variety. You've got your vegetables, your fruits, your fresh poultry. It's all in different sections. It's organized, it looks nice, it's inviting. And then you get the unorganized market, where there's and that's for example your informal markets, where you will only have a street vendor selling only oranges. Okay, hope that makes sense. So there is, let's just quickly find that. Then another term that you need to understand is auctioneer. Now, okay, let's think back on an organized market before we go there. So with the organized market, there's a shop. The shop owner buys all these fresh fruit and vegetables from a farmer. Right? He then negotiates with this farmer for the different rates. What's the price of this different products? And then they agree on the price. He buys it and then he sells it. But he doesn't necessarily have to do it on his own. He can attend the auction, and then the auctioneer will then determine the price. He'll start with a low price, and then as the bidding continues, you'll increase the price until it's sold. Okay, so most markets are normally less organized than a fresh produce market. If you take a market for ice creams, it's not that there's not a massive influx, or people do not have a big need or a want for ice creams every day of the year. In December's there's a massive queue, but during the year it's once here, once there sale. So this is an important thing to see. As you can see, they don't have a, for example, not a specific shop, but there's more. You've got ice cream charts or a mobile unit that they use. All right, so let's continue. So how is price determined? Price is determined on the market. Okay, so when you walk down a supermarket, then you will see there's a lot of different options available. Okay, so you will find that, let's take the cereal for example, or milk even. There's the let's say you're in Pick n Pay. You've got the Pick n Pay brand milk. You've got um, Clover, you've got Jersey, you've got all the different brands of milk, all rendering the same product, but in different companies that sell it. So it's very competitive, that market. So how do you choose? Well, it can be either your fancy, you really like the taste of one or the other, but most consumers decide or make their choice based on price. So how do they determine the price? So here we can see there's no supplier that determines the price and the quantity of a product that sells, but each and every buyer and seller determines the price and quantity as they participate. So this means when I want to buy, let's say I am Pick n Pay and I want to buy 100 boxes of Clover milk, okay, then I'll go to the wholesaler or at Clover or at the producer, the manufacturing plant, and I'll say I want 100 boxes. Then he's already the business owner there will say we've got this already determined price, but if you buy more than 150, we'll give it to you at a reduced rate. So let's say you can buy 100 at 10 Rand each, or you can buy 150 at 8 Rand each. Okay, so now as a business owner of Pick n Pay, I've got the option either I buy 150 and I have a lower price, which means I can sell at the lower price and still make a profit and I've got more stock to sell, or I can buy at a higher price and then I don't have that much stock to carry. So the price is determined by demand and supply. If I know that there's a big demand for milk, then I'll buy a lot of milk, but it doesn't help me to buy 300 cartons of milk if I know I will only sell 100 cartons in a day. Okay, and milk is not the item that you want to have on your shelves for a long time. So you normally want to make sure that there's a good rotation of the product, for example. But let's take cereal, for example. That can be on your shelf for a week or two, hopefully not longer than a month. But that you've got a longer shelf life. So there you can buy in bulk, as it's an item that can be stored. I hope that makes sense. So price is determined by demand and supply. We'll get to that a bit later. So what does the term economist mean to you? Who is an economist? So as you can see on the right hand side, it's someone that deals with the science of economics. He will apply it. So this person can study, he will stimulate the economy, or what stimulates the economy, and then develop and apply theories or write about the economic policy. You need to understand this definition. Okay. So competitors, what's a competitor? They're businesses that sell the same or similar products, as we said earlier. And it's our goal as a competitor to outperform the other competitors. How? We sell a better product, better quality, or at a better price, doing marketing. You need to make sure that your product is sold better. Alright, quick slide. Now, we're jumping back to sellers and buyers. Okay, so let's just think again. Sellers offer goods and services for sale, and buyers offer them money for the goods and services. So the demand for and the supply of goods and services will determine the price. That's what I said just in a previous slide on milk or Kellogg's. So again, another example. If there's many fish but not many buyers, when Katlego went to buy, the price of fish would be reduced. Why? Everyone wants to sell their fish to Katlego because there's no one that really wants to buy it. So everyone wants to sell. And what do if you want to sell? You lower your price. But if there were a lot of buyers, then the fishermen would have the power. Then they would have to, they can choose who they want to sell their fish to. And that means they can increase the price. Make the buyers fight out the price. Or if there's not a lot of fish and there's more buyers than fish, then same thing, the price would increase. Okay, does that make sense? I hope so. So in a well-functioning market, we need the following. We need many buyers and sellers. That means there must be many people that want to participate in this market. The buyers and sellers must have equal access to the information. For example, they must know when the prices change. And the products must be comparable. If I want to buy a fish or a chicken, can you compare these two? How do you compare it? How do you say a fish is worth 100 Rand or a chicken is worth 60 Rand? That's based on the market value, but how can you compare that? Okay, so you need to be able to compare it. Now let's look at this is a type of market, the different types of market. So focus on the figure 2.15 where we see there's a flow. Okay, so you need to understand this flow. The red is the flow of money. We call it a monetary flow. The blue or the blue and black is another flow, but here you can see there's something that happens. The black is where it starts. It starts at the production and distribution, right on the left. Now resources are used. There's an input of resources, and after it's gone through the brick of people, it's turned into blue, which is the goods and services, which is the output. Now tell me quickly, why do you think resources turns into goods and services after it goes through that block that says people? If you said it's due to the factors of production and people provide labor, you are 100% right. Okay, so businesses will take resources, they'll add labor to it, and then goods and services will be produced. Why do they do that? They want to sell that goods and services to the consumers, then who will supply money for it. Can you see the circular flow? Okay, so first, people who live in households are the consumers, okay, on the right hand side. Number two, business produce and distribute goods and services that households need. Businesses need a factor of production, and we said that, natural resources, labor, capital, entrepreneurship to produce and distribute the goods. They buy the factors of production from households. There you can see the red arrow at the bottom. The money goes from the business to the consumers for the factors of production, their labor, for example. Consumers then take that money and then they buy the goods and services from the business. Okay, and that's how businesses also make money. You can also identify the two types of markets from this explanation. One is the goods and services market, and two is the factor market. Okay, for a last bullet, if you can explain in at least 5 sentences what the differences is between an organized and a less organized market, then you've attained your outcome. Okay, if you've got any questions, please ask away.